You're listening to a Nite Muse media production. Tonight we return to the lost art of radio storytelling. Close your eyes if you like, and let the theater of the mind begin. Your host, John Robinson.
Tonight's Fireside story, The Chair by the Fire. Every fall, the same group of guys gathered at Black Hollow Campground. Same weekend, same fire pit, same old stories. It had been their tradition for over 20 years. There were 5 of them in the beginning. Old friends, the kind who didn't need to fill silence. Just sitting around a fire was enough. But after a while, there were only 4 of them. Nobody really talked about why. They just kept coming back. And every year they set up the same way, 4 chairs around the fire and 1 extra chair. Always the same chair. An old chair, wooden and slightly cracked. They placed it just a little outside the circle. Not quite part of the group, but not far enough to ignore. The first time someone asked about it, just happened to be a younger camper passing by, one of the men just smiled and said, just have it. And that was it. No explanation, no story, just habit. But here's the thing, nobody ever sat in that chair, not even once. Not during the day, not at night, not even when they needed somewhere to set something down. It just stayed empty, perfectly still, facing the fire. One year, though, something changed. A storm rolled in early that evening. It was a fast, heavy rain, the kind that sends everybody scrambling for cover. The 4 men huddled under a tarp, watching the fire struggling to stay alive. Lightning was cracking overhead, and then, in that brief flash of light, one of them saw it. The chair wasn't empty anymore. It was occupied just for a second. It was a shape, sitting forward slightly, hands resting on its knees, watching the fire. And then it was dark again. The man didn't say anything, didn't move, didn't even breathe for a moment. And when the lightning came again, the chair was empty. Later that night, after the storm passed, the 4 guys rebuilt the fire and sat in their usual places. And for a while, everything felt normal, until one of them, the quietest of the group, spoke up. He said, "You saw it too, didn't you?" Nobody answered right away. And then slowly, one of the others nodded, yeah. And then another. Nobody looked at that chair, not directly, but they all knew. And that's when the oldest of the group finally said something they hadn't said in years. 20 years, he said, staring into the fire. Not once, until tonight. Nobody asked what he meant. They didn't need to, because somewhere in the woods behind them, a branch snapped. It was a soft sound, but deliberate. And for just a moment, they all felt it. That's tonight's Fireside story, The Chair by the Fire, on Nite Muse.